Paso, Texas, the UTEP Miners looking to resurrect the once promising season and make a statement against Western Kentucky. We're at 151 Glory Road, home of the 1966 NCAA champions on Texas Western night. At UTEP, Western Kentucky, a game out of first with 2 games to go before bonus play. UTEP trying to avoid a spot in Group 3 where 2 of those 4 teams missed the Conference USA tournament altogether. With Tim Scarborough, I'm Chris Hassel. Kristen Valboni will join us in just a little bit. Tim, these were 2 teams expecting to play this game for a right to potentially put itself in position to win a conference championship. Western Kentucky has held up its end of the bargain. UTEP has not.
And it's surprising because UTEP has so many Division I transfers, 6 in fact. This is just Rodney Terry's second year, but they thought this might be the year they have gelled. They still have talent, and they have the capability of winning tonight's game. And if they do win tonight against a top-tier opponent, it could go a long way towards them trying to work their way back into the Conference USA playoff picture.
You could argue that UTEP has the most talent on their team in Conference USA. They're led by Bryson Williams, a guy that Rick Stansbury says is the best player in this conference.
Well, he certainly is the toughest guy to guard, in my opinion, because of everything that he does. A big, strong player inside, a force, if you will. When they get it to him, they play through him at times, and he is just a dynamite player in the paint. But he can take his game outside as well. Not the best three-point shooter, but he shoots it just well enough that you have to honor it, and you have to make sure you don't let him go off the dribble as well.
It's going to be a great battle of Williamses tonight. Bryson Williams on the UTEP side, Carson Williams on the Western Kentucky side. He was 9 of 11 from the floor in their comeback win against Southern Miss over the weekend.
And it's amazing because he's only 6'5", and he's playing the post. They've asked him to do more since Charles Bassey has gone out, and he has paid dividends inside. Look at his last 3 games, 61%. You mentioned the 9 for 11. A lot of that was late game when they needed buckets because Southern Miss was giving it to him most of the game. But Carson Williams, to the rescue, staved off the upset bid by Southern Miss, and they'll need more of that tonight.
They have 4, they being Western Kentucky, 4 double-digit comeback wins in Conference USA play already this season. To the 3rd member of our crew, Kristen Valboni, with more on tonight's game.
Well, Chris, as you mentioned earlier, it is Texas Western night here at UTEP. This is the shirt that all the students are getting with the throwback logo on it. The players are also wearing their throwback Texas Western uniforms as they honor that 1966 national championship team. Always a great night here at UTEP. They do it about once a year. Always gets the crowd very fired up. But if you can't join us here in the arena, we appreciate you joining us at home, and we love to hear from you throughout the game. We love to see those comments coming in and read them, discuss what you're saying on the air while we've got the game going on, because you know we don't do commercials. So go ahead and get those comments rolling in. We'd love to start off a game by asking who you are, where you are watching from. You can also post on Instagram if you want to see your pictures on here with us during the game. Tonight's hashtag is WKUVSUTEP. So you use that hashtag when you post on Instagram. We'll be showing your pictures right here. And of course, Chris, we got plenty of polls coming everyone's way. We'd love to see how people are voting in those throughout the game.
Pay Dirt Pete, the prospector, bringing it behind you, the mascot for UTEP, as we look at our players to watch for tonight's game. Let's focus on Darrell Edwards first, because this guy has been red hot the last couple of games.
Yeah, he's really shooting it in from downtown. He hit 5 threes on that Charlotte trip. Came back against ODU and scored 16 more points, and he loves being in this building, so he hopes to carry over that hot hand, that hot shooting that he had in the longest trip in Conference USA from El Paso over to the East Coast. On the other side, Cameron Justice was a guy who had a big shot in that comeback victory versus Southern Miss at home the other night. A guy that's been battling back injuries. He's actually in the starting lineup tonight as Josh Anderson is battling some illness. He'll play tonight, but Cam Justice will start, and they'll need him to bring what he ended the game with, and that is that three-point shooting ability.
It's his 23rd birthday tonight as well. Jared Savage on what Justice means to the squad.
it's not just another body. It's, I mean, Cameron Justice. I mean, he can play, he can shoot it. You see, he just made the game-winning shot for us. So, I mean, it's not just another body. It's a veteran guy that can really play and help us.
And taking a look at the starting lineups, you see Justice in there because Josh Anderson is under the weather, as Tim said. So normally the great sixth man for Western Kentucky, now forced into a starting spot. That really thin team gets even thinner, though Anderson is available tonight. For UTEP, Nigel Hawkins again out with a strained calf. Anthony Tark is going to get his second start of the season. As you take a look at the head coach of the Miners, Rodney Terry, in his second season here at UTEP. They are wearing the Texas Western throwbacks from 54 years ago. 1-5 all time against the Hilltoppers. That only win coming 4 years ago on this court on the 50th anniversary of that title.
Some basketball history. You can't help but feel the magic when you're in this building. My first trip out to El Paso, I'm loving it already.
Same for me. Gorgeous day. Sunny skies, about 55 degrees. And these fans hoping that UTEP can recapture the magic. They got out to an 8-1 start this season. They've lost some really tight games. One of the issues has been on the offensive end. Three-point shooting, and not a good look there, but an offensive rebound from Bryson Williams.
Carson Williams did a great job of boxing out, but the ball just kind of bounced Bryce's way. Tough.
Yeah, it was a good look, but Anthony Tark missed it. They're going to get a third opportunity here. And a foul going on Jared Savage. It's going to be a key tonight to watch, as always, with Western Kentucky. They don't foul very often, but you can't get in foul trouble when you're that thin. Rodney Terry, 21-33 overall, but this season, above 500. They have more wins, 13 of them, than they have in the last 3 seasons. So even though it's been disappointing the last month or so, still a much better team and a much better season than they have grown accustomed to the last 3 or 4 years.
So now your goals change. We talked about Conference USA tournament. Only the top 12 make it. They just want to get down there, and once you get to Frisco, anything's possible.
Look at this. They're going to get a fourth opportunity. Western Kentucky hasn't had the ball yet. Rick Stansbury's like, guys, box out. Get a rebound and hold on to it.
And there was almost a 30-second shot clock violation, but it did graze the rim, and then they saved it off of it, but they only get 20. As you remember, the shot clock only resets to 20 now.
They've had the ball the first minute and 20 seconds of this game, have the Miners. That's a deep three. That's something that they need moving forward. Just 29% this season from outside. That's second to last in the conference, but Darrell Edwards stays hot.
He's the guy that needs to shoot him, 37%. And he's on the uptick. First shot, a splash from him. Great sign for UTEP.
He's made 10 of his last 17 three-point attempts over the last 2+ games. Savage for 3. Bricks it. And the rebound to Sule Boom. Redshirt sophomore, one of the many transfers on this team.
And they are being very deliberate, getting the ball inside to Bryson Williams, and he will draw a crowd as well.
That was good defense from Carson Williams, who gets the jump ball. It's going back to Western Kentucky. Hilltoppers have won the last 3 meetings. I mentioned that only win for UTEP was 4 years ago on this court, and it came in overtime. Savage almost went up and down. Still plenty of time on the shot clock. Williams, he can shoot that. He can make it as well.
And he is a difficult assignment because he brings your 5-man, your big, out on the perimeter. And if you don't want to come out there, that's what he'll do. He'll make you pay.
Tark got it stripped away by Savage.
Great rotation. And when they make it, Chris, they're going to run that 1-2-2 trap, and it's difficult to stop.
Tavion Hollingsworth has been quiet the last couple of games. Maybe that'll get him going.
So here comes the 1-2-2 again. They into the area where they don't want to dribble. They're going to let number 3, Tark, take as many three-pointers as he wants. This is where he's effective, though.
That'll work. Tark throws it down with 2. And it's 6-5 Western Kentucky here, 3.5 minutes into this battle between Western Kentucky and the artist formerly known as Texas Western.
And Tark is getting the start because of that kind of play right there. More athletic player than Villa, plays a little bit harder, and they know they're going to have to play hard to win tonight versus a very good Western Kentucky team.
And Williams was battling for that rebound. Justice missing that three-point attempt, and the Miners a chance to take the lead.
But Tark is just 1 for 11 from downtown. As you see early, number 3, when he catches it on the perimeter, they are not guarding him.
That one tipped out, and it's Western Kentucky basketball with 15:55 to play here in the first half. We do not have commercial breaks here on Facebook. Let's take another look at that Tark stuff.
Great rebound, and how many second chance opportunities already. Great find by Williams to get it to a streaking Tark on the baseline. Nice dunk.
Well, we're here opposite our usual spot on the sideline. We're over at the scores table, so we're cramped in a little bit more. That means we're a little bit closer to Kristen Balboni.
I don't know how you feel about that, Chris, but you're playing it off
Thumbs
well.
up.
We are really
It's okay with me.
That's not what he says when the microphones aren't on. I'll have
Get
you
her
know.
out of here.
Just kidding. We want to launch our first poll of the game. Love doing these polls with all of you instead of watching commercials. So the first poll, we always like to start with this one. It's a simple one, just trying to gauge the fan bases. We just want to know who you're rooting for. So go ahead and let us know. You'll be able to vote for one team or the other, and as always, we accept write-in votes if you're rooting for a different team. I got some comments here. I've been perusing Facebook. Let me see what they all say as my phone chooses this moment to lock up.
Face ID wasn't working at that moment for Kristen.
Alan says TOPS, top, stop, stops. Tracy says go Tops. Brett says go Tops. Jimmy's rooting for the Herd, maybe doing some opposition research.
Yeah.
It's interesting, we've also got Frank and Nick rooting for the Herd as well on here. Not a lot of Miners comments, but quite a significant amount of Herd
We got
comments.
more Marshall fans than we do.
Yes.
It's that rivalry, man. That's why, Tim,
Yes.
that we say it's the best rivalry in the conference.
That's right.
Western Kentucky
Moonshine
and
Throwdown.
Marshall.
No doubt
Moonshine
about it.
Throwdown.
Moonshine Throwdown. Brian says go Tops from Glasgow, Kentucky. I don't know if I'm actually saying that right, because, you know, that's how you would say it. You'd say Glasgow, but sometimes when
be
the
Glasgow.
towns are in America, you know, they go a little bit different.
Yeah, you
So
never
Brian,
know.
let us know how it's pronounced if it's not the traditional pronunciation. All right, we're going to take a look at the poll results in just a little bit. 94% of the voters are rooting for Western. We know they have such a strong fan base. 6% going for the Miners, although we've got plenty of them here, so that can be part of it.
The trip from Bowling Green, Kentucky to El Paso is not easy.
No,
we know
it's
that
not.
the team chartered a jet, and it's still such a long ride that they had to stop in the middle and refuel.
Yes. And UTEP, when they make the same trip back east, has to do the same thing. So they're on the other end of it. Luckily, not right now. But when they make those trips, or out to Old Dominion or Charlotte, they have to do the same thing as well. We heard that there were some Western Kentucky fans that drove. Tim and I were hearing about that earlier. They drove 3 days to get here.
What?
Yeah.
And I believe
Holy
those were the
smokes.
people we saw at shoot-around as well earlier today.
Wow.
Western fans, yep.
Now, those are some dedicated fans.
Those are fans, true fans.
Oh, maybe going to cross the border here and get some really sweet fireworks to bring back. Back underway here, 15.5 minutes to play in the first half. Carson Williams uses the head fake. Can't get it to go, and that's a shot clock violation.
Well, that shot fake is so good. I almost jumped out of my seat to try to contest it. And you know, Rodney Terry told all of his players, listen, don't go for the pump fake. But it's such a good shot fake because he just made a 3 that you have to honor it.
Saw that just 3 turnovers last game against Southern Miss, fewest in a game since the early 70s. And that was one of the reasons they were able to win, Tim, getting to the free throw line and not turning the ball over.
Taking care of it, yep. And that is something that is really hard to do in a 40-minute game. Only 3 turnovers. Credit to Rich Stansberry's group. They've really changed the way they play. And you know, early in the year, they were averaging about 12, 14 turnovers a game.
Bryson Williams could not get the roll and Savage the rebound. Josh Anderson is into the game. Did not get the start because he's dealing with an illness. But if you're unfamiliar with Western Kentucky, I know that 94% of you are, based on our Facebook poll. But if you're not, one of those 6%, this team really only goes 6 deep. Williams, triple threat position, Tim. You gotta love that as a coach.
That was from basketball camp right there. And Odeji did a great job of staying down, but he was a little bit too far, and Carson Williams makes him pay, and now the turnover off the 1-2-2 trap.
Hollingsworth, floater. UTEP worked on that press break a ton at shoot-around today. Didn't work there.
It's just amazing because it's not a press that is supposed to turn people over, but game after game, we see people do what they did just right there, bring it over the timeline and pick up their dribble.
Boom, knocks it down.
And fortunately for UTEP, Western didn't make them pay for that tactical error right there. In fact, they got 2 points out of it, but you cannot bring it over the timeline. You got to pass it up the sideline, which is what they worked on all during shoot-around, but it's a lot different once you get live action.
Yeah, we saw that a lot against Southern Miss. The Golden Eagle players taking it across the timeline and then picking up the dribble. That was a goaltend. Williams went up high to try to block it, but give them 2, and Western Kentucky leads by 6.
Western does such a good job of overloading one side and allowing one guy to isolate with a whole lot of real estate to operate, and that time Rawls the recipient.
And clearly the right call as it had hit the backboard before being blocked. Now UTEP will set up the offense. 15 on the shot clock.
Sometimes they'll drop to a zone out of this. Now they're in a straight man-to-man.
Bounce down low, and that one's stripped away. Williams takes it away from Effie Odiji, and here comes Carson. Savage, the pass to Anderson.
Sloppy.
And Williams just working it. Put back stuff from Anderson, and I'm surprised he didn't get teed up.
Why, for the chin-up?
He did a chin-up, yeah. There must have been someone right underneath him.
But my goodness, what a cleanup on aisle 4 from Josh Anderson.
Already 4 turnovers forced by Western Kentucky. But there's Williams with his own flush.
My goodness, that was the hammer of Thor right there.
Bryson Williams, a transfer from Fresno State, has scored 30-plus 3 different times this season. Williams takes another 3, and the rebound to Lathan. And Lathan will take a 3.
Very good look, though. That was probably the best possession UTEP has had in this early part.
Gotcha. Williams, what a move.
Take a look at the other end. Carson Williams, no. Josh Anderson, you got to box out a Josh Anderson when he's got bungees, even sick. He's able to clean it up right there. He's having a little loving feeling right there, jumping around that rim.
17-9, Western Kentucky leads 8 minutes into this game as we bring Kristen Balboni back into the fold.
Well, Chris, we talked about it a little bit pregame about this being Texas Western Night, where they honor that 1966 national championship team. I showed you the shirt that all of the students are getting. They told me I could
take. Did you not get to keep it?
Oh no, they told me I could take mine home. I went ahead and put it away.
Okay.
You know, I got to say, I usually give Tim my memorabilia for his kids, but I'm keeping this.
That's
one.
some cool gear. Texas Western gear is cool gear.
Absolutely. So I wasn't giving that one up. We'll see if we can maybe get you guys one a little bit later. We see the throwback uniforms on the UTEP players. And it's just, they do this once a year, and I think you can't talk too much about it, the significance of them winning that national championship in 1966. You see the banner right there, and I tell you, a guy who is always here in attendance, that man right there, Willie Cager, member of that national championship team. He's sitting courtside. I saw some of the assistant coaches for Western Kentucky go. I mean, you got everybody going up and paying homage to him for what he and his teammates did. They got his jersey up there in the rafters, and rightfully so. He's got his ring I mean, he's sitting in the place of honor, no doubt about it, in every UTEP game.
Yeah, he had a big game in the championship game, 8 points, 6 rebounds. They called him Scoops.
I love that you just know those stats off the top of your head.
Well, when I saw him courtside, did a little research.
You got to check out the stats on Mr. Cager, and there, right there, is his number being honored. And, you know, one thing that both of these schools talked to us about when we were talking about Texas Western Night is the game that they played in 2016, honoring the 50th anniversary of that national championship team. So they played it in February 2016 here at UTEP. So the entire place was sold out, and it was an incredibly close game. UTEP kept storming back and won it in overtime. And both sides, both teams, still talk about how important that game was. You know, Western Kentucky probably remembers it a little less fondly, but certainly very honored to be a part of that as something that's commemorating such an incredible team.
Yeah, we were told that they were trying to get Kentucky to come play that game.
Kentucky was like, no way.
Yeah, they're not coming into a buzzsaw like that.
Would have been perfect, though, right? Because Kentucky is the team, of course, that they beat in that 1966 NCAA tournament game. And, you know, there's a famous player from the Kentucky team. Do you know who it was?
Who's that?
Pat Riley. Pat Riley played on that Kentucky team. Right. And another guy named Larry Connolly, who is a longtime basketball analyst for many years, was also on that Kentucky team.
Well, a really good start to this game for Western Kentucky. They've done it on the defensive end. That's turned into points on the other side, and they have a 18-9 lead on UTEP.
And because they are scoring, they've been able to deploy that 1-2-2 press, and it's really giving Western fits right now. UTEP fits, I should say. I want to call them Texas Western right now.
You probably could tonight, since they're wearing the Texas Western throwbacks. It was a deep three from Jordan Latham that he just had to hoist as the shot clock went down because this defense has been so suffocating.
Cam Justice back on the floor, number 5.
Savage short on that. Isaiah Cozart into the game.
Whoa, I thought Cozart knocked that one out. Yep, they're going to reward Western with the basketball.
Fans here not happy about that. Cozart has played in a little more than half of the games. I mentioned they're basically a 6-man team, but Cozart and Jeremiah Gambrell will spell them a little bit here and then. What'd you think of the replay there?
I thought Titus Verhoeven knocked it out, the transfer from Duquesne, upon further review.
Officiating crew of Gary Maxwell, Ray Natili, and Tony Henderson tonight. Bryson Williams clears the rebound for UTEP. I mentioned that their issues, Tim, have been on the offensive end not being able to do that, which is shoot the 3, but they were talking with the head coach of the UTEP Miners, Rodney Terry, and some of the staff, and they said, really, we just can't get multiple stops in a row. You saw it right there. They got one stop, missed a shot, and then Western Kentucky comes right down and scores.
And also in key possessions when they really need a stop, they're having trouble. And right there, UTEP forgot that after the make, they need to get in their press attack. 3 of the 5 players went down court and didn't come back. And luckily for them, Cam Justice didn't steal that ball.
And you look through this UTEP roster, and it's player after player who is 4-star recruit. Many of them top 100 players.
Right.
It looks like they have an embarrassment of riches from a talent perspective. Why hasn't it worked this season?
Because paper is paper, and the basketball court is made of wood. And really, though, I mean, it takes time to develop chemistry, and you have that many new faces. Sometimes it's hard to gel. It's hard to identify your role. A lot of guys are used to being the alpha. Now some of them have to take a secondary approach to their offense, and sometimes you want guys to be more assertive, and they're deferring. So it's just a matter of timing and getting comfortable with the guys you're playing with, and so far it just hasn't worked out.
Shot clock under 15. There's Verhoeven with the reverse.
And Bryson Williams, you'd think he would be hunting shots anytime you see a guy brings in a hefty scoring average, especially a guy in the post, because, you know, sometimes they forget about that guy, but he is such a sharer. Finds Verhoeven behind the defense right there for a nice layup. Great pass by Bryce Williams.
Savage will take the 3 and knock it down. Second three of the game for Jared Savage, the redshirt senior. And Western Kentucky has its largest lead of the game at 13. Boom got fouled on the way up. He's going to earn a couple free throws as they broke the press, but it never looks easy, does it?
It isn't, and they're not doing what they practice, though. Remember, Rodney Terry doesn't want them to go guard to guard, because we throw it back and forth. It gives them, first of all, it takes a few more seconds. Now you got to hurry to get the ball over half court. But secondly, he wants them to get it down the sideline so they won't get trapped. Easier said than done. So far, they've not been able to execute against that very effective 1-2-2 three-quarter court trap.
Stadium is the only 24/7 network available on both television and digital devices without a cable subscription. Catch live and on-demand games, extensive highlights, classic games, and original programming at watchstadium.com. Stadium, welcome to the game. Around and out.
A swirly. And you know, so far, Rich Stansberry has gone into his bench a little deeper and earlier. Another steal by Western. Cam Justice with the hustle.
Got on the deck. But then a lazy pass from Anderson who went behind the back. And here comes Boom. Yes, and the foul. Maybe that'll get the Miners going.
A rare transition opportunity, though. And UTEP takes advantage. Boom! And it comes with the Josh Anderson turnover. It's so late. Boom, in traffic. Anderson actually great hustle to get back. Almost blocked that, but he committed the personal.
Well, here's something amazing that we didn't hit on the first time he was at the line. Sule Boom came into this game 91% on the season. He was 90 for 99 at the line. He's 0 for 3 tonight.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. And it's those are the types of things, though, right? You talk about timing and guys stepping up at the right moment. They just haven't had that chemistry.
They do get a defensive stop here on a turnover from Tavion Hollingsworth. Western Kentucky has already surpassed its number of turnovers from Saturday's win against Southern Miss. They only had 3 in that game, 4 so far tonight.
They've been pretty casual with the ball, though, wouldn't you say? A little bit loose, and that'll create turnovers more often than not.
Especially after they've taken this double-digit lead. Maybe getting a little bit too comfortable.
Yep. And now 2-3 being deployed here by Western.
Deion Stroud straight on. That one out of bounds, and will go to Western Kentucky as we reach the under 8 timeout. 24-13, Tavion Hollingsworth and the Hilltoppers with an 11-point lead.
Well, I thought it would be fun, Chris, to do another poll right off the bat. I want to ask everyone at home, do you think Tavion Hollingsworth will get to 20 points in this game? Right now he's got 5, second on the team behind Carson Williams. But he's struggled the last 2 games, at least scoring-wise. He's only had 8 points in each of his last 2 games. So, Tim, while we wait on everyone to vote, have you noticed anything differently about what's going on with him this last
I think he just does what he needs to do. We talked about timing and chemistry. He's got the ultimate timing. He knows when his team needs him and when they don't. And if they're scoring and things are going fine, Tavion will pick up loose balls and throw them in the bucket from time to time. In fact, he had a bunch of shots like that just weren't going for him the other night. A lot of them swirled out. But he lets the game come to him. And then if he's feeling it, he'll be assertive. And that's when you see him score 30 points in those nights. But, you know, right now, they're still winning, so he doesn't really need to be assertive.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, there's no way that I'm voting against him, because the last time we did this poll, it was the 3 of us.
Yeah.
And I said, is he going to score 20? And I said yes, and both of you, I just want to point this out, said no. I tell you what, we did a game. First of all, I was right.
I think, didn't he finish with exactly 20?
He finished with exactly 20. And then we had our next game at Western Kentucky, and during warm-ups, he came over to me and he said, hey, I appreciate you believing in me. The rest of them didn't, and I really appreciate that. So look, I'm never going to doubt Tavion Hollingsworth. I've covered him enough to know that he's certainly capable of it. And Tim, as you so wisely pointed out, even if he doesn't do it, he's such a leader. He's such a Mr. Do-Anything.
He's a good basketball player,
Absolutely.
right? And it's not just about the scoring, but it's the little things, picking up a loose ball here or there, finding an open man. He just does a lot of positive things. They need him on the floor, but they don't necessarily need him to score it from time to time.
No, but I think he might get his chances in this one. 71% of the people who voted agree with me. They think he is going to reach that 20 mark tonight.
I don't think he gets there.
Yeah, me neither. I'm with you, Chris.
I don't think he's going to need to. 2 for 3 so far tonight. 5 points for Tavion Hollingsworth. Carson Williams. Patient, spinning, might have traveled.
Wow.
Didn't matter because he missed anyway, and here come the UTEP Miners. They had some numbers when Williams hit the deck. It's a tough corner 3, and still can't get it to go.
Had Bryson Williams on the block. If you have Bryson Williams on the block, deliver the package, please.
And Bryson Williams has been pretty quiet so far tonight, just 2 points. 3rd in the conference in scoring, averaging 19 a game. That's an offensive foul.
Western does such a good job of isolating you off the dribble. But here, Josh Anderson thought he had the baseline, but a great job of shuffling the puppies by Jordan Latham.
Give Boom credit, even though he's 0 for 3 at the line as a 91% free throw shooter. He has a couple of rebounds. Steps in on that charge as well.
Was that Boom on that one? Yeah.
UTEP down by 11. That's going to be another foul on Anderson, so that's 2 real quick ones. And well, UTEP really lucked out because Tark dribbled that off his foot. It was going to be a turnover.
And I believe Anderson already has 2 fouls, too. Well, actually, he's got 3 fouls now, and he's going to play in this possession. So if you're UTEP, you got to go at number 4, like right now. But instead, they get an illegal screen.
Wow.
They bail Josh Anderson out.
And now Anderson checks out. Savage comes in.
Because remember, Josh hunted down that run out. They tried to block. That was the first one. Then he got the offensive foul, and then that reach right there. So before they could get him off the floor, you almost got a 4th if they would have been able to run a play at him. So we probably won't see him, certainly won't see him for the remainder of this 6:49, this half.
Well, Savage is back out on the floor. He has 2 fouls. Well, that's something to keep an eye on. Foul trouble, which Western Kentucky is not often in. They only commit about 8.5 fouls per game. That's top 10 in the country.
1 DQ this whole year, Jared Savage.
Hollingsworth got it blocked. 12 on the shot clock. The Tops will have it.
It's a great play by Jordan Latham to recover because Hollingsworth had him beat. Right here, a great spin move, but Jordan Latham, athletic and long, gets there when he needs to be.
And Latham got his hand on it. 5 on the shot clock. That 3 short. Williams was in the right place, but just short hop and went off his foot out of bounds to UTEP. They've been sitting on this 11-point deficit the last 3 or 4 times down the floor, but they've been unable to get it to single digits.
So now they're going to be forced to play this 2-3 zone to keep Jared Savage out of an isolation situation where he could pick up the 3rd foul. But really, they've only committed 5 fouls. It's just unfortunate that 2 guys committed those fouls.
See UTEP gun shy from 3-point range at times, and that's why, because they're terrible from 3-point range. 1 for 10 to start this game as Stroud missed everything by about 2 feet.
I haven't seen him miss being wide open like that badly in a while. I mean, that was not close.
He is 3 for 24 from 3-point range this season. Justice got it
Another
blocked.
perimeter block.
Darrell Edwards got that, but Justice gets the last save. UTEP 6 for 20 from the floor, 1 for 11 from deep. And they haven't been able to get it in to Bryson Williams, who's being fronted in this zone. Another three-point attempt. That one no good. 1 for 12 to start the game.
Wow.
Hollingsworth. And now Rawls rekeys the offense. That one poked away. Hollingsworth got it stolen, but Savage got it back. Williams the spin and the dish. Oh, Justice missed a bunny. Now Stroud spins and skies for the slam.
In transition is where UTEP is superior to many. They have finishers.
Now Western Kentucky gets it right back.
If UTEP can find a way to get out in the open court, I mean, they are an athletic, high-flying team, as we have seen on display. The problem is they haven't been able to do it a lot because of the good transition defense being played.
That jumper is true, but just a two-pointer for number 2, Jordan Lathan. Under 4 minutes to go here in the first half. Western Kentucky has led pretty much the whole way. UTEP scored. Since then, it's been all Hilltoppers. They begin the night 1 game behind North Texas for first place. Hollingsworth got bumped, and he's in some pain. Rodney Terry's not happy with that whistle. He got hit right in the nether regions.
Man, I didn't know where you were going with that.
Got hit right in the nether regions.
Okay.
28-17, Western Kentucky on top, and I believe the officials are going to take a second look at this just to see if there was anything heinous, but right now it's ruled a common foul, correct?
Yeah, Tony Henderson said it is a common foul now, but if they see that it's a flailing hand or something wild, and you know, you catch somebody where you shouldn't catch them, they might tag you with a flagrant foul. They want to try to clean up those types of plays.
Somebody got tagged all right. It was Tavion Hollingsworth. So they're taking a look at it right now as we take this moment to highlight Carson Williams in another great game. He has 9 points to lead all scorers after scoring a game-high 24 in the win against Southern Miss on Saturday.
And clearly UTEP needs to try to get themselves in transition, and they have to do a better job on this guy. They do a great job of isolating Carson Williams. He pulls your big man away from the basket, and if you don't honor it, he'll knock it down from downtown. Just a terrific player at 6'5", playing the 5 position, and they've gotten away with it. And in fact, they've made it a plus.
He's 2 for 3 from outside. Western Kentucky 5 for 10 from three-point range. UTEP is 1 for 12. Need I say more?
Yep. And on the year, that's kind of been the story for UTEP, as you just underscored. Their lack of three-point shooting as a team, 29%. It's really not going to get it done. And Bryson Williams at 38% is one of their better shooters. But he's the guy that you really need to be in the post. Other than Darrell Edwards and you have a lot of guys shooting in the teens in terms of shooting percentage from downtown.
Well, Carson Williams is shooting 66.7%, 2 for 3.
Notice how they spread you out. They get this ball, this two-man game here, and then they'll overload one side and throw it back to the side where they can go one-on-one.
Williams, backdoor, whoa. Cameron Justice, the reverse.
Man, they have really, the way they play now, the way they spread you out, and they share the basketball, and the timing and the chemistry right there, it's just all there tonight for Western Kentucky.
Finally, another 3 from UTEP. That's Darrell Edwards. He's the only one who's made a 3 tonight. He's 2 for 4. The rest of the team 0 for 9.
Yeah, and he needs to keep letting it fly. He's a terrific shooter. Again, we talked about the 5 he made on the road at Charlotte. Old Dominion was all over him whenever he caught it. He still knocked down a couple.
And they forced the turnover. There's Williams, great look, and back-to-back buckets for UTEP. And a stoppage in play with 2:39 to go. It's an 8-point game, so even though it seems like Western Kentucky is blowing them out, they really aren't.
That's an 8-point game. They're definitely within it. You see here, notice the spacing, though. You got players on the perimeter, and the spacing is just terrific, and it gives you a lot of area to operate if you're a one-on-one dribbling guy like Carson Williams is.
Savage misses the three. UTEP on a mini 5-0 run, trying to put something together here before half. Savage the steal. UTEP will get it back. Boom. Picked it up at the elbow. Shot clock didn't reset. And I think they're going to say that it should
30,
because
right? It was a change of possession with
Savage had it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It wasn't a tip or anything like that. He had control of it, but he was going out of bounds, so he had to throw it out. It's a good job by the officiating crew to stop play and reset the shot clock to 25. That was a great pass, and Cameron Justice gets called for the foul. Beautifully done by Jordan Lathan as he found Titus Verhoeven underneath.
Well, UTEP has got to find a way to speed this game up. We've seen flashes of it. When they get out in transition, they have high-flying finishers that no one's going to stop. It's easier said than done. You get the transition break going by getting deflections and turnovers, live ball turnovers that lead to buckets, but Western's doing a pretty solid job of not doing that.
Big three from Bryson Williams, who scored 5 straight points, and it's just a 5-point game, an 8-0 run for the Miners.
Bryson Williams and Darrell Edwards are two guys you can really build around if you're UTEP. Terrific players. Here comes the ISO once again. Great help that time.
Rawls, tried to go side back door, but it was picked off by Williams.
But even on that, an interception, notice how quickly Western gets back. They know UTEP is really good in transition too. They're really getting their bodies back in the paint.
Williams posting up on Carson Williams. A lot of dribbling from Boom. Shot clock to 5.
Nice pass.
Oh, found his man in the nick of time. Titus Verhoeven cuts it to a 3-point game as we tick under a minute.
And man, the noise level in here has raised considerably.
These fans really didn't have anything to cheer about until about 2 minutes ago. Western Kentucky led by as many as 13 points. But a 10-0 run from UTEP. Shot clock to 3. Great defense.
We got numbers here. Jordan Rawls is in the tunnel.
Lathan will go to the line. A blocking foul on Hollingsworth with 29.5 to go here in the first half.
Getting out in transition. Lathan right there, trying to go around Tavion Hollingsworth and doing a Julius Erving finger roll. Couldn't convert, but he'll have a chance for a couple at the free throw line. A chance to cut it to 1 if he can knock him down.
Well, they're 0 for 3 at the free throw line tonight. That's their first make.
And their one of the best shooters in the nation is the guy who missed them.
Hey, Saturday, you can catch American visiting Bucknell, 2 Eastern on Stadium, the only 24/7 network available on both television and digital devices without a cable subscription. 12-0 run and a timeout called by Rick Stansberry with the shot clock off.
That was fast too, Chris.
About 2.5 minutes.
Yeah. It looked like Western was going to run away with this thing. They started playing a little loosey-goosey, in my opinion, with the basketball. Allowed some transition opportunities, and then a knockdown from 3 from the top 2 scorers, Williams and Edwards, and now all of a sudden you're in a dogfight.
And Bryson Williams had just 2 points the first 17 minutes of this game, but 5 big ones during this run. The stuff and just kind of going to work. This is what he does. Also hit a 3.
That right there, the pick and pop, able to knock it down, and he got himself going. But you know, it's clear when they get him the ball, in the post. There's no one on Western's team that can really handle him. Western, again, playing very small. Carson Williams is 6'5", Jared Savage 6'5", 6'6". Those are the bigger players on the floor. And they can't handle Bryson Williams, but now he's on the bench.
Now the guy that could guard him is sitting a row or two behind the Western Kentucky bench. Charles Bassey making his first road trip now that he's off the crutches, the season-ending injury. Under 10 seconds in the first half. Down to 5. Hollingsworth throws it up and gets fouled.
Wow, bailout.
2.3 seconds to go, and Hollingsworth will get 2 free throws.
And it's unfortunate because that was a great defensive possession, but you can't break his cylinder the way they did right there. A good contest, in my opinion, but a little bit too aggressive, Jordan Latham. But Hollingsworth has a way of making it appear like you're fouling him. Great job of drawing that foul. That's why he shoots so many free throws.
He's such a great free throw shooter, 85% on the season. That's 8th in the conference. There's Charles Bassey. Great to see him make the road trip. Be heading to San Antonio after this for a game against UTSA on Saturday. The final game of bonus play. That snaps the 12-0 UTEP run.
Well, that's Western basketball. They make more than most people take from free throw line.
Well, that was interesting. Trying to draw the foul there was Jordan Latham.
Yeah, that's not a ref in America that's going to call that.
Yeah, that never works. Even if you get clobbered, that's not going to work. But Rodney Terry has to feel great going into halftime, only down by 3 after trailing most of the half by double digits. Kristen is with Rick Stansberry.
Coach, you started out with a comfortable lead, then UTEP went on that 12-0 run, but Tavion Hollingsworth was able to get you a couple of free throws before you go into the locker room. How important was it to have those couple of points before you head in for the half?
Well, again, we had too many self-inflicted turnovers that allowed them to do that run. Foul troubles caused it some. We got some guys. Josh has got 3, and Sav's played with 2 for the last 6 or 8 minutes. We just can't turn the ball over on the road. Give them a chance to get some easy baskets.
Coach, what are you going to emphasize to your guys about keeping their heads up and coming out and starting fast out of the locker room?
Well, again, that's 20 minutes. We found a way to survive it. Thought we've done a pretty good job on the Williams kid. They're going to make some shots, but we can't have those self-inflicted turnovers. Those live ball turnovers that leads to transition baskets. We got to eliminate those.
All right, Coach, we'll let you go talk to your guys. Thanks so much.
Yeah, UTEP with 8 fast break buckets, and they have 11 points off 8 Western Kentucky turnovers on Texas Western night here in El Paso. A 3-point lead for Western Kentucky. We'll send it back to our Chicago studios and take a look at Conference USA signing day.
Welcome into the stadium studios. He's Michael Felder, our gridiron guru. I am Amina Smith. Time for us to take a look at Conference USA and their signing day recap. FAU and FIU have the numbers 2 and 3 recruiting classes in the conference. And Michael, when you take a look at these 2 classes side by side, what stands out to you?
Well, one, they finished signing day 1 and 2.
Yes.
But then a late surge from North Texas got them to that #1 spot. But the thing that I saw out of this, both guys, Butch Davis and Willie Taggart, doing what they do best, and that's getting out to the recruiting trail. For Willie Taggart, it's those relationships with those high schools. He was already recruiting in the state of Florida and the state of Georgia when he was at Florida State. He loses that job, gets the FAU job when Lane Kiffin takes off to Ole Miss. And so what do we get? We get Willie Taggart going to Georgia, going to Florida, and that's reflected heavily in his signing class for Butch Davis. Butch Davis is all about the state of Miami, right? From Tampa down is the state of Miami, and he went and he pounded the pavement hard to get kids from that area to make sure they stay at home and play in their own backyard.
Let's start with a look at the Panthers. FIU brought in linebacker A.J. Mathis. What can Mathis bring on defense?
Sage Lewis is a heck of a linebacker for FIU. Got to get him right. The Panthers, not the Owls. So Sage Lewis makes plays for them, and I think A.J. Mathis could be another guy in that line of Sage in the same vein as Sage Lewis. He is athletic sideline to sideline. He plays downhill, which is what you want out of a linebacker. He's also capable in coverage. Look, when you're playing in Conference USA, People want to throw the football around. You're going to have to play La Tech. You're going to have to play these teams that want to throw. And when you do that, you're going to have a linebacker that can cover, so you don't have to take him off the field to put a safety on. And A.J. Mathis can stay on the field. He can stay on the field 3 downs all game, get them off the field so that your offense gets the ball back so you can go score.
They also pick up guard Jose Mirabal, an in-state prospect. What can he help, or how can he help in the trenches?
Well, I love this, right? He's athletic, 6'4", 285. He's got good size. You see him playing the tackle there. You see him mauling the guy straight to the ground and then telling him all about himself, getting that pancake. I love to see that. So this is an FIU team that only gave up 14 sacks this season, and that's bananas. That's an insane stat. And the best thing you can do as a football team from an offensive standpoint is give your quarterback time to make throws down the field and find your playmakers. And I think Jose Mirabal's got the opportunity to help out in that respect. You see him playing tackle. He's listed as a guard at 6'4", 285. I think he's athletic enough to play some tackle. The other part could be, listen, let's say we do kick him down inside to a guard. He's going to gain a little bit more weight. He's going to be a little bigger. But the thing you want is athletic guy. He can still pull out and help you in the run game, in addition to continuing to boost up the protection for your quarterback and keep them at that. Listen, 14 sacks for a season, that's a heck of a number. That's basically a sack a game. And that's a really good number. There are a lot of teams that have given up 14 sacks in back-to-back games. So this is a big number for them.
On the flip side, FAU signs Willie Taggart Jr., listed as an athlete, of course, the son of head coach Willie Taggart. Where do they play him on the field?
I mean, we see him playing quarterback. Is he going to play quarterback? Is he going to play wide receiver? Does he kick over to defense? Can he kick over to defense? Or is that a thing that he's not capable of doing? I think the big key for me is you see the athleticism, right? This is a guy, you see him shake, bake, get himself out of trouble, then explode to go get into the end zone. He's got great explosion. He's got good understanding of the game. So I think that's a big plus. It's all about where they want to use him. Just figure out where he fits best for this football team. Maybe early on that means he plays some wide receiver, and then later on he switches back to the quarterback position, or vice versa. I think this is going to be really interesting to see how Taggart uses his own son to go out and help get some dubs.
Elsewhere in Conference USA, Charlotte has improved their recruiting rankings. Just last year, they were 14th in recruiting, and this cycle, they're 8th. What was the difference maker this year?
Well, let's start with the season they had. I mean, goodness gracious, they go out, they get to a bowl game. That's huge for them. They also, look, they signed 22 kids instead of 16. More kids are just taking notice that Charlotte is playing football, that Charlotte can play football. Both years, 8 and 8 commits, but the big thing that I noticed about them is border states. It's not just North Carolina kids, right? So you hold an 8 in-state commits, but your number also goes up. So what does that mean? That means you're going into Tennessee, you're going into Georgia, you're going into South Carolina, you're going into Virginia. All states that border North Carolina, and they are discovering that you have a program and they have the potential to play big-time college football at that program, and I think that's a big plus for this staff.
Offensive tackle Arabi Muslim recently signed with Charlotte, listed as a 3-star prospect. What's his upside on the field?
I think the upside, there's two things. One, he comes from a program that is massive in North Carolina. Mallard Creek Boys, let's go.
Creek Boys.
Yes, he comes from that program, right? So he's playing tackle. So we know that he's been coached very well. I know their strength and conditioning coach, Donald Littlejohn.
Right.
He's lifting weights right now. This is a kid that's doing power cleans. He's doing cleans. He's doing jerks. He's doing all those things. And you see him playing tackle, right? So maybe he kicks down inside. We'll see what happens with him. All 6'3", 295 as a high schooler. That guy's going to only get bigger. So I think the big thing for him is watching that footwork. He understands what a kick slide is. He understands that he's got to make sure he keeps his shoulders square. He understands how to punch. So for me, they're getting a player that might have an immediate impact on this football team.
Yeah, UAB also took a huge drop in the rankings in their recruiting cycle. In 2019, the Blazers had the 3rd-ranked recruiting class in the conference, and this year, they're 13th. What caused the big drop-off?
Well, I think it was a rough season for them. It wasn't as, epic as we saw them a season ago when they got to the Conference USA Championship game. So this is all about retooling, and the big key for them is going to be they've got to up that in-state commits number. They were 12 last year. They get to only 5 this season. I think it is a direct reflection of them not having the season that they wanted to have.
Yeah.
And so things are a little tough. Things are a little rough. And it's reflected in recruiting. For them to continue, or for them to get back to the Conference USA Championship game, they have to go out and they're going to have to recruit harder. They're going to have to recruit better, specifically in that state of Alabama where there is a ton. Look, we put it on air, right? We show it on Friday Night Rivals. There's a ton of elite talent in that state. Alabama and Auburn can't get them all. So those kids, get some of those kids. You got to get more of those kids so you can play and achieve at a higher level.
Running back Willie Eldridge out of Texas is staying in state to play for UTEP. What's his strength on offense?
Well, I think it's just the explosiveness.
Yeah.
And that's the key, right? I think when we look at that, you need a guy that's going to be able to make some plays. I mean, look at this. Look, okay. Now I'm going to go. And I think having his ability to break tackles, elude guys, and then explode up the field is going to be big because this offense has been so stagnant, so predictable, and obviously easily stopped. So you need a guy that can explode to make plays, and I think that's going to be a real big get for them. So this is one where you want to find a way to get him the rock. They got to shore up that offensive line, but the key is going to be get this kid the rock so that he can go make plays. He plays at Cy Ranch. They play big-time football. Get him the ball, and he can help lead your football team to the promised land.
Meanwhile, Western Kentucky picks up an athlete on the trail. Jaquez Evans out of Georgia. Why is Evans the right fit for the Hilltoppers?
Well, listen, here's the thing. You say right fit. I don't even know if I don't know what his fit is.
Okay.
He is, listen, it's the state of Georgia, right? He's the 2A Offensive Player of the Year in the state of Georgia. When I look at him, he's built like he's playing linebacker.
Wow.
So he's listed as an athlete.
Right.
And we're watching the running back highlights, and he can really play. I love that out of him. Like, this guy, he can be a force for Western Kentucky running the football. Put him back there, let him run. I think he could have an impact, sort of like Spencer Brown had at UAB a couple seasons ago. But he also could be the heart and soul of your defense. I mean, this guy can move sideline to sideline. He can play down at 6'2", 225. He fits with a modern linebacker. He can do all those things for your football team. And so the question is going to be, you got a running backs coach, you got a linebackers coach, you got an offensive coordinator, you got a defensive coordinator. Where do you play him? Because both of those guys, all four of those guys are going to want him on their team. I want him on their side of the ball, on their practice field. This is a question of where do we play him, because Evans is a stud, and he's going to be an All-Conference USA player. It's just a matter of if it comes at linebacker or at running back.
Western Kentucky has 9 players from the state of Georgia. How are they so successful recruiting in that state?
Listen, get in there, right? Let people know you got an opportunity. I think that the big key for them is they're pushing Conference USA over Sun Belt. And I think that's one of the things that Conference USA still does have. And I think they're still in a hierarchy. Everybody thinks Power 5 versus Group of 5, but at the end of the day, AAC is saying we're better than Mountain West or better than Conference USA. Conference USA, listen, look at us. We play bigger time football than the Sun Belt. We've got teams that go make plays. And I think with Western Kentucky, the turnaround they had was also a big part of it, right? This is a team that found ways to go out and grab W's and make big plays, have big impact. So I look at that, and I think that that's the way that they're recruiting in that state well. And I think that's also the way that they are raising up this program.
All right, before we wrap, I want to show you this video right here. Arabi Muslim, I know we talked about him earlier. He's a 2-sport athlete. However, it's not the sport that you might be thinking of. Take a look at this video right here. Usually, players, they either play basketball or run track. He's doing some karate right here.
Yo, he's got the gi on.
I like it.
He's got the gi pants on. He doesn't have the full gi on. You got to get that full gi.
I love that it's called a gi. Like, my little brother did karate way back when, and that just took me back. Listen,
it looks like he's going through a kata. I took Taekwondo, made it up to blue belt, purple belt.
Oh, my gosh.
He's doing a kata right now. I would wish there was audio so I could hear his ja.
You want to hear the audio on it?
I want to hear his ja. I want to hear the kia. He does the bow. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Look. Oh, he got the fancy gi on too. This is fantastic.
It is pretty fancy.
Look at that.
I mean, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting either basketball or track or something.
Love it.
For Michael Felder, I'm Amina Smith. We'll see you next time.
A great university means having a bold vision with no compromises. A vision of commitment, determination, and inspiration. Unparalleled opportunities for learning, collaboration, and research. At UTEP, we're redefining higher education every single day and success with every single student. The University of Texas at El Paso, a top-tier university.
The excitement of Division I college basketball in the month of March is returning to Ford Center and the Star in Frisco, Texas. Get your tickets now for the 2020 Conference USA Men's and Women's Basketball Championships, presented by Baylor Scott & White Sports Performance Center. 22 basketball games over 4 days in one location, March 11th through March 14th. For tickets, visit your Conference USA team box office or go to conferenceusa.com. You won't want to miss Hoops at the Star.
For 25 years, Conference USA student athletes have done things the only way that we know how, the CUSA way. In that quarter of a century, we've learned a thing or two about winning, both on and off the field. Our student athletes are more than just great athletes. They're fantastic students, and they're outstanding citizens who give back to their communities. We're committed to excellence. We are stronger together. That's the CUSA way.
The flat path is easy, but for the inspired, there is a spirit that kindles a desire to climb higher, to soar, to roar, to reach new heights. The wish to be a part of something more, to do more and to be more. Hilltoppers know that life at the top is worth the climb. Climb with us at Western Kentucky University.
Back in El Paso, the University of Texas at El Paso, but honoring Texas Western tonight, 54 years after that national championship in 1966. UTEP was down by double digits most of the first half, but used a 12-0 run toward the end of the first half to get back into things, only trailing by 3 at the halftime break. The leading scorer in this game with 9 points is Carson Williams for Western Kentucky.
Yeah, Carson Williams is really good. Let me show you how he's able to freeze it right there. Now, if you notice, he has player, those 3 guys on that side of the floor, and then he's got a little shooter over here just in case he needs that bailout. But he doesn't need that bailout because, number 1, he can shoot from here. Number 2, he can go off the dribble. And because of that, that space, look at the space right in there. That is enough space for him to get a clean look at the basket and let it roll. And you see what happens, a splash down from downtown. It starts with the spacing, though. And then in transition, Tavion Hollingsworth got his going, and Jared Savage with the nice trail 3 playing that power forward position. And then the block, on the block, scoring didn't happen, but the cleanup from Josh Anderson. Anderson's got 3 fouls in the first half, so we'll see how much he plays to start the second. And then on the other end, it was Bryson Williams with that hammer down right there. And then transition is where UTEP is just a better team. You got to keep them out of there. And then a simple pick and pop and a 3-point knockdown, 38% from downtown on the season from that young man, Bryson Williams, Player of the Year candidate in Conference USA.
Looking at the first half stats, the 3-point figures certainly stand out. Western Kentucky has turned UTEP over 9 times, but Rick Stansbury was telling Kristen Balboni going into the halftime break he's extremely unhappy with the number of turnovers for Western Kentucky. I mean, if UTEP would have made a couple more threes, this would be a much different feel in this game. Kristen Balboni was able to catch up with Rodney Terry, the head coach of the UTEP Miners, coming out of the break.
Yeah, and he was pretty happy about the stuff that Rick Stansbury was unhappy about. He said, hey, we got to continue to get stops in this second half. He said, we finally got some shots to fall on that 12-0 run. Very happy about that. But one thing he said that was interesting, Tim, he said, we got to work on our transition D. He said at the beginning of the game, they scored way too many points on us in transition. So interesting that he went back to that, even though they ended on such a strong run.
Yeah, and the reason they were getting those transition opportunities is because they were turning it over in that 1-2-2 trap. And the reason they were setting up the 1-2-2 trap is because they were allowing them to score, which allowed them to set up the 1-2-2 trap. When Western couldn't score, there was no trap, and UTEP got back in the game as a result.
Before we get to the second half, we've already got our moment of the game. And it's really a game honoring this 1966 national championship for what was then called Texas Western. An all-black starting 5. Stunned Kentucky. It's one of those things you read about in textbooks as a kid growing up in America. It's cool to be here, be in this building in El Paso where it all went down.
And it's quite a moment for me as an African-American, a young black player growing up. You know, that was a little before when I was born, but it kind of paved the way, which allowed me to not only play basketball at the college level, but also coach basketball and now broadcast basketball. That doesn't happen without pioneers like those guys kind of breaking that color barrier. So great moment in college basketball history.
It's pretty cool. And we had a shot of Willie Cager sitting courtside in the first half with his championship ring on. UTEP has the basketball to start the second half. They do it once a year with these Texas Western throwback uniforms and honor that national championship team. Amazingly, the only national championship from a team in Texas.
That is amazing. UT has never won it. And Rodney Terry was an assistant at UT, and he coached some really good players, including Kevin Durant, DJ Augustine, TJ Ford.
Jared Savage short on that three. And Sule Boom runs it down, keeps it in, and scores it. 1-point game.
Transition, baby. That's where UTEP is terrific.
And they force a turnover. Rick Stansbury standing right in front of us. Not happy, to say the least.
And he certainly wants them to push it, but he doesn't want them to throw it into the seats and to the cheerleaders. No.
There goes Boom again. He gets bumped by Hollingsworth. You're mentioning those Texas greats that Rodney Terry coached. Ken Paulino, one of those, on his staff as his #1 assistant.
Yeah, how about that?
Graduated in 2008 from Texas.
LaMarcus Aldridge, also one of those Texas players. Rick Barnes, of course, the head coach during that stretch, now at Tennessee.
Well, UTEP hasn't led since it was 3-0.
Nice.
There they go, all the way back from 13 down. UTEP has the lead, and these fans on their feet.
And Western Kentucky slept at the wrong time. They woke the beast, and now they're going to be in a fight to the finish here because this UTEP team capable of winning this ball game.
That three off the mark, weak side rebound, outlet pass. Lathan dumps it. Boom will get to the line.
Just too much to try to guard it all. A lot of finishers in transition. They get out. That ball moved up the court in about 2.3 seconds. Boom, the recipient of that dime from Latham, couldn't convert. But he'll get a chance to go back to the free throw line.
That's foul number 3 on Jared Savage. So, Savage and Anderson with 3 fouls. Hollingsworth has 2 fouls.
They're kind of giving Western a dose of their own medicine, getting to the free throw line. That's what Western does to other teams. Again, we talked about it before the half. Western has made over 100 more than their opponents have even attempted on the season.
Tonight, UTEP 4 free throw makes. Western Kentucky just 3. Carson Williams jump hook, no, tipped around. UTEP's got it.
UTEP just looks so much better when they're not going up against that 1-2-2 trap.
Boy,
got the shot they wanted, though, right?
A wide open look for Bryson Williams. Cameron Justice got the start tonight as Josh Anderson's under the weather. It's a 2-on-1 for UTEP. Lathan, throws it away. Hollingsworth, couldn't save it. It'll be UTEP basketball.
That was a really good piece of defense by Cam Justice, getting back 1-on-2 defensively, able to get his hand in the passing lane. That negated a sure layup from Edwards. Now they get to set their defense. We've watched them run this play a lot in the shoot-around today, but Edwards couldn't get it to convert.
And that's a foul. And Cameron Justice is going to get 3 free throw attempts.
And that's a clear foul, too. I mean, Edwards is complaining to Gary Maxwell.
Well, he's saying that he tipped it, so it shouldn't be a foul, but I think that might be an NFL rule.
Yeah, I was going to say, what
tipped,
league is he playing in?
You can, maul the receiver if the ball is tipped, but
yeah, that's not going to happen in college basketball. You crash into a shooter, that's an automatic foul.
Justice will get one more. Western Kentucky needs this now to stay in the running for the #1 seed going into group play, because North Texas beat Charlotte tonight. So Western Kentucky needs to win this to remain a game out with 1 to play. They do have the tiebreaker over North Texas, but they would need a win tonight, a win at UTSA Saturday, and a North Texas home loss to Old Dominion. They get a steal. Justice, that's the roll.
And that's a guy with a bad back with a nice crash, but he gets up. No worse for the wear, but again, that 1-2-2, there's just so much trouble getting through it. Another turnover which cost them points.
Now, that was an easy bunny that Jordan Lathan just flat out missed.
Wow.
And now Justice for 3. Savage high, tips it out. Hollingsworth saves it, but to the wrong team. Here comes Edwards, 3-on-1. Oh, missed the dunk. And a foul on Williams. Carson Williams called for the foul.
So the Bryson Williams hammer won't count. But man, 2 missed layups straight. Unfortunately, they'll get a chance to shoot a couple of free ones this time. But right here, the break being ignited. And Edwards delivers a perfect pass, and the hammer just didn't go.
Yeah, I don't know if Lathan took off too early. Going to get another foul on Western Kentucky. And another one on Carson Williams.
Tart, #3, in the starting lineup for Villa. I don't believe we've seen Villa tonight so far.
No, I don't believe so either. Eric Villa still on the bench.
But Tart had one of those 2 attempts at the basket, just couldn't convert.
So recapping the foul trouble for Western Kentucky, which is something that they really haven't been in all season long. They have 2 players with 3 fouls, Josh Anderson and Jared Savage. And they also have a couple players with 2 fouls, Hollingsworth and Williams. And again, this is a team that really only has 6 players that contribute.
Yeah, we saw Gambrell and Cozart earlier. You probably won't see them unless it's necessary here in the second half.
Hollingsworth to the rack, and we'll get to the free throw line. Saw an opening, took it, takes advantage.
Again, just a savvy ability to get himself to the free throw line. This is 1-on-2, but somehow he gets himself to the line. Obvious foul, and Hollingsworth will go to the line for a couple of free ones.
Don't forget the stadium is your home for Ring of Honor Wrestling. Check out the latest from the ROH Superstars on all stadium platforms Wednesday and Sunday nights, 8 and 11 o'clock Eastern Time. Stadium, welcome to the game.
Hollingsworth was about to take his 127th attempt from the free throw line on the season. He leads his team in that area. And the make, again, allows them to set the 1-2-2. And now they get the trap. Exactly what I just said, told them not to do.
Oh, they called a foul on Tavion Hollingsworth. Can you believe that? They had him trapped. I thought they were going to give him a timeout.
Yeah, me too. But I'm just amazed at how many college basketball players are dribbling over the half-court line and picking their dribble up. It's a dead man. Because the back, you can't go backwards. You can't go to the side. Now you got 2 defenders in front of you. It's like being literally boxed in.
Now 3 players with 3 fouls for Western Kentucky. But they get another stop, and now a foul on UTEP. Well, Western Kentucky found themselves down by 3. UTEP had a couple of chances to grab a 2-score lead. Could not get it done, and Western Kentucky has retaken the lead, a lead they have had for the majority of this night. Kristen Balboni rejoining us.
And Chris, you were just talking about it a couple of minutes ago, just how important this game is for Western Kentucky as Conference USA gets ready to announce the bonus play schedules on Sunday once everyone finishes up their Saturday game. You mentioned that North Texas win from earlier tonight, so we wanted to show you what's been going on tonight around Conference USA. Here are all of the games that have gone final. Marshall and UTSA are playing right now. So, Chris, you mentioned that North Texas win over Charlotte and just how important it is for Western Kentucky. We also want to show you the standings.
And that Louisiana Tech win over FIU, a big one, because now the pressure's on Western Kentucky even more coming from the backside. I mean, they don't want to fall out of the top 2. If they were to lose tonight, lose to UTSA, Louisiana Tech win again on Saturday, they would fall to that 3rd spot.
And we're talking to Coach Stansberry. You know, they've cemented themselves, Western Kentucky, already in that top pod, and that is important, no doubt about it. And it's quite an accomplishment considering just, you know, how thin they've been for the last couple of months.
Yeah, it's absolutely
but they want
amazing.
that top spot. And Tim, he was talking to us about it earlier, just about how important it is because number 1 gets number 2 and 3 at home. And that's a big difference, despite, you know, the first and there's a big difference between the top team and the second best team in that top pod.
This is what it would look like coming into today, and UTEP would be in that bottom pod. Again, the last 2 teams in the standings at the end of the season do not make the Conference USA tournament. So UTEP still has a chance to climb up to Group 2, but I'm going to start by winning here tonight. Western Kentucky, on the other hand, if it ended tonight, they'd be number 2. So they would have to go to North Texas, a team that appears to be having a stranglehold on that number 1 position going into group play. They have fate in their own hands. If North Texas wins against Old Dominion on Saturday, or if Western Kentucky stumbles at all here in these last 2 games in the regular season, North Texas will get that number 1 seed for pod play. We got a whistle underneath. Players getting together after that swat.
And Verhoeven was going to try to help Cam Justice up after he knocked him to the ground, and Cam Justice just refused to let him pick him up.
What's your take on that as a competitor?
You know what? If he doesn't want it, then Verhoeven just needs to walk away.
Okay.
Because you can't force a guy to shake your hand, right? If I stick my hand out to you, you don't want to shake it. You know, I might hit you, but no, I'm just kidding.
Well, that's happened a couple times with our Facebook producer, John Flower. He doesn't shake hands.
No.
He does the old fist bump.
He's a fist bumper.
Like, what is it, Howie Mandel?
Yeah, exactly. So is John a germaphobe?
I believe so. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Carson Williams missing that 3. Still a 3-point lead for Western Kentucky. They were up by double digits most of the first half. It was a 12-0 run for UTEP toward the end of the first half that got them right back in this game.
That is just a terrible pass, though, by Edwards. You got to pump fake it for guys all over you like that.
Oh, savage. There was some contact, but no whistle. And here comes the outlet. Edwards, a 3.
But that's what they need to do, though, Chris. He didn't make the shot, but that is a great look from downtown from your best 3-point shooter in transition, no less. Get out and run and get this into an open court transition track meet. You got a chance to win this game. But Western is more than happy to be deliberate on offense and get back and keep you out of transition on defense.
Justice in the corner. He knocks down a 3.
Great set right there. Kind of a counter to what they've been doing. And now they get to set that 1-2-2 up once again. And again, Verhoeven was almost across half court there before he threw it backwards.
Justice now leads all scorers with 11 points. Wide open 3. Boom, hits it. They're just 4 for 20 from deep. But when you're that wide open,
gotta let it fly.
Absolutely.
And that was a big shot and a big moment here. Again, UTEP certainly in a position to steal this one at home here against a top-tier Conference USA team in Western Kentucky.
Good ball movement. Josh Anderson doesn't get the rule. Wow. Bench wanted a foul.
And they throw it away. Great resistance at the basket, though, by Bryson Williams. But at the other end, they run Justice on that baseline screen for a 3. And back the other way, a wide-open Soleil Boom from downtown.
Boom and Justice leading scorers with 11 points apiece tonight. officials wanted to make sure that shot clock was reset to 30 seconds after the turnover. UTEP had that basketball and threw it away. A lot of dribbling from Anderson.
Josh has to be careful with the 3 fouls.
So to Savage, who gets the roll as Justice goes flying.
The guy with the bad back keeps hitting the ground, right?
Well, he looks like he's feeling great, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's moving very well. And he knocked down that 3 in the corner. He looked good shooting it.
He hasn't looked this good since the old disc started bulging a few weeks ago.
And you know, he did look this good in the last 5 minutes of the game the other night. And he hit that big 3.
Anderson, took it hard to the rim. He thought he was fouled, didn't get the call. Western will retain possession.
There's not many people who athletically stay with Josh Anderson, but I tell you, Latham and Tark are both more than capable. Right there, that's a great clean look, clean block by Jordan Latham. And that was really a breakaway as UTEP kind of fell asleep at the wheel, but they were able to recover.
Williams is left open. Use that head fake as he often does. Savage will take it. And boom, the rebound. He just bolts up the floor. And that's a tie-up.
Yep.
Possession arrow to Western Kentucky.
Titus Verhoeven has been kind of mixing it up. He's played a pretty good game in the 10 minutes he's been on the floor. Right there, trying to get a putback, but Jared Savage got his hands on it as well.
5-point lead for Western Kentucky. They trailed early on in this second half. Rawls out to Williams. 3 on the shot clock. Williams, extra step.
Really good defense, though. Again, Titus Verhoeven, he was where he needed to be. He recognized the scouting report. He closed out, but he didn't go for the pump fake, and he was able to stay on the ground and keep himself between Williams and the basket and force the travel.
Yeah, Verhoeven hasn't played a ton this season, which is surprising. He's had to sit out last year transferring from Duquesne, but he broke the freshman block record at Duquesne with 71, led the A-10 in blocks.
I remember that.
Great defender. And he helps him beat the 1-2-2 full court trap.
They got it up the sideline, and they got it in his hands. He's going to play because they need his ball handling skills. So he's going to be on the floor a lot against that 1-2-2 trap, I would think, the rest of this game.
Boom. Gonna get to the free throw line. 2 shots on the other side of this timeout. UTEP hanging in, down by 5. 11:55 to play in this interesting ball game. Western Kentucky in foul trouble, very thin. We'll see how this one ends up. We welcome Kristen Balboni back into the fold. She's been checking your Instagram accounts. Not stalking, just checking.
No. Just lightly checking in to see what everyone is doing. Everyone who's using our hashtag, at least, and that hashtag is WKUVS. UTEP. Let's take a look at a couple of pictures, and remember, if you want to see your picture on the game, I can't stalk everyone during the game, so I need you to use that hashtag that you see right there. This one's from Marley85, and not only is that big red, it's also in the shape of Kentucky, which I would not have known that, I have to admit. Our producer, John Flower, my Facebook producer, who lives in Kentucky, let me know that.
I should have sent this into our Instagram feed, but last night I saw an incredible map of the United States on how to spot where Kentucky is. Kentucky basically turns into a piece of Kentucky Fried Chicken. Minnesota's the hat, Iowa's the face, Missouri's the body, Arkansas's the legs, Louisiana's the shoes. It's out there.
Still, it's out there, but you didn't post it, and you didn't use the hashtag.
I should have done it, I know. I don't know what I was thinking.
Disappointed.
Oh, look at those eyes.
JMB 276 says baby son, says go to.
Is that a dog?
It does kind of look like a bear, doesn't it? I do see the
resemblance to the bear.
That's a good-looking dog, though.
So we obviously love seeing all those pictures. Keep using that hashtag right there, WKU Yes, UTEP. Another thing we love is hearing from all of you. So I have a question for all of you watching at home as well as the two of you. You know, Glory Road, of course, is based on that 1966 national championship team. Great basketball movie. So I want everyone to think about this as we get back into play. What is the best basketball movie? We'll talk about it in the next break.
Okay, great.
Got some good ones in my head. Can't wait to talk about it.
I've got some bad ones in my head.
There have been some bad ones.
Speaking of bad ones, Sule Boom is 3 for 7 from the line tonight. He came into this game 90 for 99.
Yeah, one of the top free throw shooters in the country.
That one went off a Boom, out of bounds, 16 on the shot clock.
Not a good pass, though, by Josh Anderson. Cozart was using that UCLA cut, but they guarded it. But Josh Anderson tried to fit it in a window that wasn't there. Fortunately, it was deflected, and they retained possession with 16 seconds left. But UTEP has really turned it up defensively. They've made it tough. There's not been a lot of easy looks on this end for Western Kentucky.
Here's Isaiah Cozart. Boy, a rare offensive showing for Isaiah Cozart on the season. Has 12 points, counting those 2.
Wow. He's appeared in 14 games and has 6'7". He's got a 7'3" wingspan. You look at those long arms. They're going to try to steal some minutes from him. Great job of knocking it down right there.
Boom. Steps back for 3 over Savage. Nothing but net, but it didn't go through the cylinder. And Hollingsworth gets bumped.
And Sule Boom probably took it, I'm going to say, he took an ill-advised 3 with a guy in his face stepping back. Not the shot that you want in a key possession.
And not a good three-point shooter, 27% coming in.
And he's taken 132 of them coming into today.
Well, they must think, oh, Hollingsworth splits the D, spin cycle, but didn't put enough English on it.
Nasty move, couldn't convert. This is the guy, Edwards, who needs the ball in his hands.
Efe Odiji had that ball out high. He's actually 4 for 5 from three-point range this season. I'm kind of surprised he didn't pull the trigger. Lathan will and misses.
Lathan from NBA range right there.
Hollingsworth got it stolen away and almost commits a silly foul.
He did. They let him get away with it.
Verhoeven gonna create a third chance here. He almost had a putback stuff. The offense has been lacking for both of these teams lately.
Hollingsworth was very fortunate he didn't get his 4th personal foul on that one, though, Chris. After he got his shot, had the ball taken from him, he tried to get it back, and that's where you oftentimes pick up a ticky-tack foul that way, 90 feet from the basket.
Oh. Ball went off the foot of Bryson Williams, but into the arms of his teammate, Jordan Lathan. Screen and roll, Williams. No, the tip is good from Odiji.
And Odiji and Williams together gives UTEP a nice size advantage in the paint. Let's see if they can take advantage. Savage has got to guard one of those guys.
Shot clock to 7 as Hollingsworth sends Savage out of there. It's one-on-one with the big man. No good. Anderson the rebound, put it on the floor.
We're going to call a foul.
We're going to call a foul on UTEP, on Jordan Lathan. Still not over the limit. The next foul is going to send the Toppers to the line for a 1-and-1.
J.D. Collins, the head of officiating, has really implored his guys that when there's a loose ball, don't just default to a jump ball when everybody dives in. Get the guy who's diving on someone, because it's not football, right? You're not allowed to just dive in there in the pack. If you dive on a guy, that should be a personal foul. And I think that's what took place, and a good call by Ray Matilli, the official.
Now Western sets it up. 15 on the shot clock. Coming up on 9 minutes to go in this game.
So now they're running a 1-4 two-man game ball screen.
Williams, head fake, takes it to the rack and almost tore everything down. He'll get to the line. A foul on UTEP.
I watch a lot of college basketball, a lot. This guy's pump fake is one of the top 5 pump fakes in the country. You know it's coming, but he simulates the actual shot, and he gets so many guys off their feet, and man, does he take it to the basket with cruel intentions.
Deion Stroud makes him earn it at the line. Williams hasn't scored here in the second half. Maybe next game we'll get your top 5 pump fakers in college basketball this season.
I'll have to consult Coach Bob Knight. When he was a broadcaster, he must have said pump fake every other word. He was always talking shot fake, shot fake, shot fake.
Hey, Saturday, St. Mary's hosts Pacific, 8 Eastern on Stadium. The only 24/7 network available on both television and digital devices without a cable subscription. Stadium, welcome to the game. And now a chance to set up that 1-2-2 press once again. They got to be careful. 3 players with 3 fouls, Josh Anderson included.
This is where they need to go, right here. Mismatch.
Yeah, he kind of short-armed it.
Yeah, and he didn't. He wanted to get it up there before the double came, but he would have been better served to just take his time, because Savage is 6'5" and nowhere near as strong as Bryson Williams is either.
Hollingsworth somehow splits defenders.
Wow. He's had some hard look shots the last couple of games, though.
Boom, oh, tough angle. Now Hollingsworth taking a little breather here. Western Kentucky's got to be gassed. They really only have 6 players that contribute. They'll go 7 or 8 deep, but those 2 players, 7 and 8, only get maybe 6 minutes. Savage, big 3. And a timeout, Western Kentucky.
All you can say about Jared Savage is reliable. He hits big shots at big moments time and time again. Western desperately needed a bucket to kind of stave off this UTEP team, and Savage once again delivers.
Savage now with 11 points. Savage, Williams, and Justice all with 11 for Western Kentucky. The Hilltoppers with their largest lead of the second half. It's up to 7 points with 7:44 to play here in the ball game.
Well, and no doubt about it, we've heard it all season, how much of a leader Savage is. He's the glue guy on this team.
Yeah.
That's what all of them say, Coach Stansberry and all of the players, that he is the guy that holds it together. Real leader in the locker room as well. But I asked you guys in the last break to start thinking about the best basketball movies. So we were talking about Glory Road, which the Texas Western 1966 team that is based off of. That's a great basketball movie, I think. I remember going to see it in theaters. But for me, there's really only one answer to this question, and that is Space Jam. I mean, it's an incredible basketball movie. I watched it so many times as a kid. I wore the VHS. Yeah, what else would it be?
It's more sci-fi, right?
It combines both. Best great movies can do both, Tim. I wore that VHS out.
Some of the worst acting that you'll find anywhere.
You calling out Bugs Bunny like that?
Listen, I grew up diehard Bulls fan, biggest Michael Jordan fan there was. I remember going to see that movie and being embarrassed to be a Michael Jordan fan because he was such a horrible actor.
How old were you? 8 or 9? Oh, and you were just too cool to watch Michael Jordan in a movie?
He was
got
bad
into the double digits and all of a sudden
the movie was bad. It was embarrassing. It's a bad movie.
I thought it was great. I tell you what, that VHS is probably, I mean, it was like broken after 7 days because I rewound it so much. All right, so what do you like then?
I mean, I'm just going to take the low-hanging fruit. I'm going Hoosiers.
Hoosiers, for me, white man can't jump.
That's a great one.
He got game, blue chips.
Ryan Brown on
those
Facebook, he commented he got game
right
as well. Little Denzel action.
Those are good choices, Tim. Tim, what are your thoughts, Space Jam?
Space Jam, I concur with you, Chris. I wasn't
No,
quite embarrassed for Michael Jordan. Hard to be embarrassed for the greatest basketball player of all time. But
two-handed stuff from Deion Stroud.
But as a actor, he's a very good basketball player, right?
Good basketball player, terrible actor, Michael Jordan. Ryan Brown on Facebook says Coach Carter.
Coach Carter, yeah.
I hear that a lot from the millennials. They love that.
To me, you got to judge it by how realistic the basketball action is. Above the rim, another good one. Tupac, Dwayne Martin.
UTEP gets a bucket, gets a stop.
Ray Allen as Jesus Shuttlesworth, though, was just... he's a pretty good actor for a basketball player.
Right, he was a good actor. Yeah. You're right. Foul underneath. Uh-oh, is this on Hollingsworth? No, it's on Carson Williams. Take a look at that dunk once more.
A triple team there, which leaves the back door wide open, and the freshman Stroud able to finish with two hands.
And both teams now in the bonus. And fouls becoming a real issue for Western Kentucky. 4 players with 3 fouls right now, including Carson Williams.
And you know, it feels, we've done so many of these Western Kentucky games this season, and it's always something with Western Kentucky, right? There's always something that they have to overcome during these games.
And they usually do.
Right, and you know, they have a good chance to do it in this one. And I've talked to Rick Stansbury a lot over the season. He has so much to say about how his players have handled this with the injuries and the setbacks. Here's what he had to say the other day about how this team has overcome.
A lot of teams could have caved in. These guys deserve a lot of credit. They hadn't caved in at all. You know, they found ways to take it to another level and fight through a lot of things. And like I said, it wasn't just Bass. It was, you know, Cooper a few days after that. And then you fight through, you know, Cam Justice. You know, there's 3 losses, and basically we didn't have Cam Justice those 3 games. So they've been through a lot of things. So to fight through everything and put himself in this position to still, you know, have a chance to be in a conversation, they deserve all the credit. A lot of credit for the way they've responded, and tells you kind of character, the kind of people they are.
And Tim, you know, I know we've talked about it a lot, but it really is so impressive what they've been able to do, and look at all of these comebacks, no less.
Yeah, and you know, on one hand, you could say, man, they played badly at a moment to get down by 15, but sometimes other teams just play well and they have a stretch. But the thing I like about them is how resilient they are under pressure. And when the game is tight, they somehow manage to make the right plays at either the offensive end or the defensive end, whatever it takes to get the job done. And that's the mark of a championship caliber team. I'm not saying they're going to win it all, but they are going to be really difficult to beat in Frisco, no matter what seed they have come March.
Coach Stansbury is always very fond of telling us we have 0 margin for error in this game. He says it every single game, and usually, as you said, they find a way to get it done. We've
highlighted the 4 double-digit comebacks in conference play, but they also had an incredible comeback in a win against Arkansas this season. They were down 5 with 36 seconds to go and beat the Arkansas Razorbacks.
That was the game that Bassie went down in as well.
Correct. Early December. UTEP within 3, 6:45 to go.
So if you're UTEP, you want to take care of the basketball, recover out the shooters, don't let guys go off the dribble, and then try to get out in transition, because that's where they're getting their easy points.
Savage. Runner no good.
Go. They got numbers here.
Yes, they do. Edwards gets it to go.
That's what I'm talking about right there. If you're UTEP, get that break going, Chris.
And a whistle, because Jared Savage is back on the other end of the floor, and it looks like he lost his contact.
And at the other end, Edwards is not worried about his contacts. He's worried about 2 points in transition. now I'll help you find your contact.
Well, he's asking one of the assistant coaches, is Savage, to put the video camera on him on his phone so he could look at his eye. It looks like the contact is still in there. He found it. His eyes are watery. They're a little red, but he's staying out there.
I'm always amazed on the basketball court, or sometimes even a football field, where people are able to find contacts. But they
no kidding. You drop one in the bathroom, and you never see it
never
again.
Find it.
The whistle as they were trying to get it into Carson Williams. They get Titus Verhoeven with the foul, and that's going to send Williams to the line for 1-1.
So they're staying with two bigs, either Verhoeven or Odeji. But to me, they started playing kind of 4 perimeter players. But I think they have an advantage playing big, UTEP does.
Williams, a good free throw shooter, 77%, earns a second.
And it really is Rodney Terry is trying to force Western to guard Bryce Williams with a smaller player.
Makes both, and now they'll set up the 1-2-2 again.
They backed it up a little to half court. And Josh Anderson at the front of that thing makes it so difficult.
Shot clock to 10. Williams tipped around, and Anderson's able to get it to Hollingsworth, but Verhoeven got it back. Not sure how, but he did.
Again, Titus Verhoeven, it may not show up in the stat sheet, but he's played a really good game for UTEP here tonight.
You're right. Now Williams takes it. Oh, I don't know if he called it, but it'll work. 1-point game again. And these fans are into it now.
Tomorrow is Valentine's Day, so how appropriate he went in for the kiss.
A little smooch off the square. Shot clock at 7. Anderson to Savage in the corner. A big one. How many times have we said that about a Jared Savage 3? So timely.
And it really doesn't matter how he's playing throughout the course of a game. If he's playing horribly, when it's a big moment, he seems to be able to knock down that shot. He always believes in his abilities.
Boom, another tough angle. Works that glass. 2-point game again.
But if you're UTEP, you got to be feeling pretty good, though. And you feel like you got momentum, you got the crowd behind you. But they've been here before. I felt like the Charlotte game in particular last Thursday, they had a chance to win down the stretch, but just couldn't make enough plays. Let's see if their fortunes can change here in El Paso.
Hollingsworth, oh man, got tied up, stuck with it.
Of course, he wanted to go to the free throw line as well, but he converted nonetheless, giving Western a little bit more breathing room. But here come the Miners once again.
In this 2-3 zone. Bryson Williams. And now Boom re-keys it with 12 on the shot clock. It's a screen, 17-footer, and the foul.
And I don't know if it was a mix-up or they changed the defense in the middle of that play, but Tavion Hollingsworth started chasing. You see how Hollingsworth is going over to the corner. They kind of switched, and that left an open area, and Western takes it, or Texas Western, I should say, takes advantage.
If you're just joining us, it is Texas Western night here at UTEP. Team wearing the throwback uniforms to honor that 1966 NCAA championship team. And our fan of the game here on Facebook is a member of that championship team. Willie Cager's got the ring, got the courtside seat. NCAA champ.
I wonder if he's ever taken that thing off. I know I wouldn't. If I won a national championship, just know 46 or what is it, 56 years later, I'd still be wearing it.
Well, that's a good size there. I mean, a
you.
lot of these, the Super Bowl rings, the World Series rings, they're way too big to wear all the time. Going back 54 years ago, Texas Western, an all-black starting five, beating Kentucky, an all-white starting five, and a turning point for not just collegiate athletics, but I think American athletics.
Agreed. A historical moment in United States history, not just sports history. And many people didn't think it could be done. But there is the proof. NCAA champions. How many Conference USA teams could say they won a national championship?
No kidding. Well, the Miners are right in this thing. Only down 2, 3:34 to go. They have lost 3 in a row, just 4-8 in conference play, but they have been snake bitten in tight games. They lost by 3 to Louisiana Tech, by 2 at FIU, by 5 to Boise, by 4 at Hawaii, by 3 at New Mexico State, and by 4 at Charlotte.
Yep, and the Charlotte game, again, most of those games, they had possessions where if they convert or if they get the stop, the whole complexion of the game changes, but they haven't been able to make those plays down the stretch. And here they are once again. And that's usually the story from a team like this one, who is comprised of so many transfers and a lot of talent. There's no doubt about, no one's doubting the talent that Rodney Terry has been able to assemble. But, you know, the chemistry is what you try to get, and that's really hard to do sometimes.
Being told we have a championship caliber Instagram post to get to. I haven't seen it. Oh, my.
That's right.
Oh, man.
Kristen would be the best actor in that movie.
I know, I tried to get into Space Jam 2, but no one was having it. I'm very proud to be memorialized in that incredible basketball movie, Space Jam.
Incredible Photoshop job as well. I mean,
that is. That rivals,
you can hardly tell that you weren't actually
that rivals the TNT graphics group right there. That's some good stuff from our stadium crew.
Sule Boom converts on the three-point play. He has a game-high 19 points, and it's a one-point game with 3:30 to go.
Here we go. Down the stretch, we have one team that's used to making plays and one team that comes up short. Let's see how it plays out tonight.
Hollingsworth guarded by Verhoeven. Putting the moves on, the fade away, short. UTEP running, chance to take the lead. Edwards way short, and he knew it.
Yep, he rushed it though. And his bench almost played defense on him because they were so into his shot launch that it kind of looked like they distracted him. But that's the shot they want, and Edwards knows if he gets that one back, he's going to knock it down.
Rawls, an open look. He hits it, and a timeout. Rick Stansberry.
How about the freshman stepping up big? Jordan Rawls from Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Yeah, he's not even supposed to be here. He was originally going to be in the class of 2020, reclassified, and hits a huge 3 on the road at UTEP.
Pressed into duty into the starting lineup with injuries, but he has paid dividends. A very good player. Had a great game last Thursday at home during the blackout. Been pretty quiet tonight, but that was a big shot and a big moment for Jordan Rawls.
Want to let you know that on Wednesday at 7 Eastern, we have Lehigh visiting Colgate on Stadium, the only 24/7 network available on both television and digital devices without a cable subscription. How about the atmosphere tonight? You got a team that's lost 3 in a row, 4-8 in conference play.
Yeah.
And you still get about 5,000 fans who are engaged.
Yeah, and that's only going to continue as the Rodney Terry era takes shape. Again, he's just in his second year coming from Fresno. But you have a lot of people in this community that want to get behind this team. They want to support a winner. They were picked in the top 4 preseason, but it hasn't played out that way. But there's still enough season left to kind of get things turned around. Their goal now is to get themselves into Frisco, meaning the bottom 2 teams in Conference USA do not go to Frisco. So right now they're in. If the season ended today, a win tonight against a top-tier team will go a long way towards tiebreaker scenarios as well.
They might have a chance to get into Group 2 in bonus play as well. This is a team that won an exhibition game against Texas Tech. The fan base got really engaged. They come out, they beat New Mexico, they beat New Mexico State.
Yeah.
They beat UC Irvine. They beat Ball State. Started 8-1.
Some good teams there. Ball State beat Georgia Tech by 22 points in a game I was in Georgia. But Ball State's a really good team.
You get the sense that all this Miners team needs is a little bit of confidence coming down the stretch. And they're going to be a dangerous team. We've seen it tonight. Lathan left his feet.
Nice
oh! Williams missed a bunny.
Wow.
Hollingsworth got bumped out of bounds.
Wow.
But they're going to call a foul on that push, and it'll be 1-1 for Western Kentucky.
If you're Rodney Terry, who do you want to have the ball? We see the push. And a little acting job to me. And again, you can actually call a flop on people now. We haven't really seen it called since the beginning of the year when it was a point of emphasis. But you could easily have called Hollingsworth for pretending like he got fouled. I didn't think he got pushed there.
Because it looked like, I mean, he was bumped a little bit, but it looked like he was going to be able to stay in bounds. Right. And then when he realized he was bumped, then he overreacted and went out of bounds.
Right. But if you're Rodney Terry, you had the ball 3 feet from the basket with arguably the best player in Conference USA with it in his hands. You'll take that every time, but did not go. That's been the story here lately in El Paso.
Missed the second shot.
But they have to hurry now. Down 5. Still 2 minutes, though. Enough time.
Now they're extending this zone. Williams lays it in with under 2 to go. 3-point game.
He made sure of that time.
And he's into double figures now. Averages 19 a game. Just hasn't been able to get it going tonight. Just 5 of 14 from the floor.
So can you get a stop? And what will Western run? They'll try to ISO.
Nine to shoot. Rawls throws it up. No good. Here comes Lathan. He's pushing, kicks it out. Boom for the tie. Short. Rebound Rawls, and they've got numbers. Hollingsworth lays it in, plus the foul.
Wow, what an exchange right there. And that has taken the air out of this building. Wow. What an exchange. Starts with the 3 that almost goes from Boom, and then in transition, Edwards tried to get there, but Tavion Hollingsworth with the acrobatic play, dexterity around the bucket, converts and has a chance for the conventional 3-point play. Big moment.
He's got 15 now. And UTEP, last time down, a shot away from tying the game, now down 6.
That was a 5-point swing that happened, a 6-point swing that happened really quickly.
Oh, great position inside. Williams lays it in. 4-point game, you don't have to foul yet.
But is it too little, too late? You definitely need a stop here. And then a quick 2.
Some fans urging the team to foul, but clearly the directive is play this one out, get a stop.
Especially late in the shot clock like this.
Only 5 seconds to shoot. Hollingsworth throws it up. Got it! The closer, Tavion Hollingsworth, with 17 and a timeout with 27 seconds to go.
How about that kid, Tavion Hollingsworth? Well worth the price of admission if you're a Western Kentucky fan. Wow.
Had the big and one when it was a 3-point game.
How calm was he, though, in that last possession? I mean, he just, let me just go ahead and get a basket right quick. Like it's easy. He makes it look easy, though.
And you saw what he just said. He said it again. Just one more stop. If we can get one more stop, that's all we need.
Yeah.
And Western Kentucky will stay in the running for the #1 seed going into group play. And our play of the game is that shot from Tavion Hollingsworth with the shot clock buzzer sounding.
A dagger indeed delivered by number 11, Tavion Hollingsworth. Don't let the smooth face fool you. He is an assassin.
Boom. Some contact, no foul, gets the bucket, 4-point game, and now Hollingsworth trapped. Almost forced a turnover. He had to throw it off of Jordan Lathan.
There's no panic in that guy, though. I mean, he was up against it. That should have been a turnover. He lost it.
Josh Anderson takes his seat. We got an inbound, 18.2 to go. 4-point lead for Western Kentucky. Hollingsworth, the great free throw shooter, will go back to the line. And it's just a 1-and-1. But that's the guy you want at the line if you're Western Kentucky.
And he may not get to 20 like we talked about, but he snapped out of his, what they were calling a funga. I just thought it was him playing. He did have a poor shooting night the other night, Saturday. But he always does good things for this team, whether the ball is going in for him or not. And tonight you saw it once again on display, especially in big moments. You look at his numbers there, half by half. Solid performance indeed, 17 points, and has a chance to add to it.
More points tonight than he had the previous 2 games combined. But like we talked about, those were 2 wins. They didn't need him to score a bunch of points in the wins over Louisiana Tech and Southern Miss at home. Earns another free throw.
We talked about Michael Jordan, right? It's got to be the shoes. Look at those things.
They got a little Space Jam feel to them.
They do.
Green on them.
Marvin the Martian would be rocking those.
Tavion Hollingsworth is our player of the game. 18 points, 6 rebounds. It was a quiet night until the last minute and a half of this game when he's really stepped up and slammed the door shut.
Tay-Tay time, indeed. In transition there, shot that pull-up. 1-on-2 didn't matter. An acrobatic play in transition. That was a 6-point swing right there. The 3 that could have tied it. He gets a run out instead. It converts to a 3-point play. When they needed a basket down the stretch, he was able to knock it down.
So there's an issue with the scoreboard here. The scoreboard says only 7 fouls and single bonus. Rick Stansbury was saying that what they have is that's the 10th foul.
Yes, it is. And on the stat monitor, it has 10.
He made the first free throw anyway, missed the second. Edwards.
Need it.
Missed it. Anderson the rebound. He's fouled with 4.7 to go. A big fist pump from Rick Stansbury. And a hard-earned victory tonight in El Paso.
And that tells you how important it is to be #1, the #1 seed for Rick Stansbury. He really wanted this road win. And it looks like they're going to be able to salt it away. Despite that young man at the free throw line being sick and being in foul trouble, and other guys being in foul trouble tonight, they were able to withstand it. Really no one with even 4 fouls by the time it was done. But Savage, Anderson, Hollingsworth, and Williams all with 3 fouls.
Now, they did a really good job in the second half not getting into deep foul trouble. Anderson missed both free throws. Lathan at the buzzer, and shot would have made a difference to a few people out there, but not to the outcome of this game. A 5-point victory for Western Kentucky as they win for the 8th time in 10 games, remain a game behind North Texas in the standings, and they've guaranteed a top 2 seed going into group play because of the tiebreakers that they have. they are guaranteed either a 1 or a 2 seed going into group play, which begins a week from Saturday.
That is a championship caliber group right there in red. They simply know how to win. They know how to finish games. Give Rick Stansbury a ton of credit, because they could have easily folded their tent and said, we'll just fall into the middle of the pack because we lost our All-American center. But instead of doing that, they changed the way they play, and they have really just put themselves in a position to win this whole thing.
You see Rick Stansbury there giving his players a hand as they come off the floor. Kristen Balboni will be speaking with Rick Stansbury in tenths of a second. Kristen?
All right, Coach, every game that we have with you guys, you tell us before it starts there is zero margin for error. But yet, when I talked to you at the half, you were talking about the foul trouble, you were talking about the turnovers and those other self-inflicted wounds. But yet you course correct in the second half and get this win on the road. How did you do it?
Well, I think we corrected those things at halftime. There wasn't none of those live ball turnovers that led to easy baskets. Not many of them. They had 11 points off our turnovers first half. And that's kind of what got them back going. Didn't have as many silly fouls, kept them off that foul line. And again, this bunch, you've seen us a bunch. You may as well be in our travel party. This bunch never quits. We never panic. There's always moments you could panic, but these guys stay together and they keep believing in each other and they find a way.
I saw you giving each of them love as they came off in that line there. You gave them all a handshake. You just made one of the longest trips in college basketball, all the way down to UTEP. You've been through quite a lot this season, and yet you guys are still in contention for that #1 seed in bonus play. How proud of you are these guys?
Well, listen, whatever happens, I'm proud of these guys right here. You know, everything we've been through, it's well documented. For these guys to still have themselves in position, and we still kind of control on destiny. They deserve all the credit and a lot of credit.
I think you deserve a little bit of credit too, Coach. Thanks for the time. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, Kristen, he's right. I mean, it doesn't matter where they end up being seated in group play if they win out. If they take care of business in Group 1, they will be the Conference USA champions. Now, they may go into things a game or maybe even 2 behind North Texas, depending on how things shake out on Saturday. Western Kentucky is heading off to San Antonio tonight to take on a UTSA team that is about to pick up a good home win against Marshall tonight. Yeah. North Texas will be home against Old Dominion.
And UTSA is always a dangerous team, too, because of their guard play, the leading backcourt scoring combination in Jackson and Wallace. But, again, Rick gives his players a lot of credit, but I have to give Rick Stansbury a lot of credit for changing their whole approach and how they played. They used to play through Charles Bassey. They lose him. They go 5 on the perimeter, stick a 6'5" center out there, and they have done nothing but win ever since.
UTEP's going to be in that bottom pod, which is going to be interesting this year because we know what UTEP can do. We know the talent they have.
Yeah.
Rice has won 3 of the last 4. Southern Miss, we saw them almost beat Western Kentucky over the weekend. They picked up a victory tonight. You got some teams that could do some damage that are going to be trying to fight their way into the Conference USA tournament.
Of course, 2 of them at the demarcation line is right there. The bottom line is 2 right now won't get in. If it ended today, the Southern Miss team that you talked about wouldn't even get a chance to go to Frisco, Texas. But again, you want to stay out of that bottom 4. But right now, UTEP with the loss tonight, they may be in that bottom 4, which is unfortunate. But you can see why people were high on this UTEP team. A lot of talent in this group. They just have to figure some things out, and they're going to be fine.
And maybe they get on a roll in that bottom group and head into the conference tournament on a winning streak. That'll do it from El Paso tonight. A fun game. Western Kentucky led by as many as 13 in the first half. UTEP went on a 12-0 run late in the first half, made this a game, and they had a chance late at a game-tying shot in the final minute and a half on Texas Western night, but it was Western Kentucky that ends up on top. For Tim Scarborough, Kristen Balboni, and our entire stadium crew, I'm Chris Hassel. So long from El Paso.